In the vast cold expanse of space, the medical transport ship hummed with quiet anticipation. Dr. Hyun Park sat at his observation station, his fingers hovering over the holographic display. Outside the reinforced windows, the dark canvas of space stretched endlessly, punctuated by distant starlight. The Galactic Medical Consortium had assigned him a peculiar mission: observe, document, analyze. But nothing could have prepared him for the human military unit he was about to encounter. The Wan ship's communication system crackled to life. Coordinates appeared, indicating the rendezvous point with Squadron 23. Captain Jin Woo's team would be arriving soon. Dr. Park adjusted his medical sensors, expecting nothing more than another routine documentation assignment. As the transport's docking bay opened, the first human soldiers stepped inside. They moved differently, not with the rigid precision of other species, but with a fluid, almost unpredictable grace. Their equipment looked worn, patched together, yet meticulously maintained. Captain Jin Woo was the first to approach. He was tall, with sharp eyes that seemed to take in every detail of the medical bay. His armor showed signs of multiple repairs, scorch marks, micropunctures, hasty welding. Each mark told a story of survival. "Doctor," he said simply, his voice carrying a mix of professionalism and underlying tension. Dr. Park noticed something immediately different about these humans. Where most species would show exhaustion after interstellar travel, these soldiers looked alert. Their muscles were coiled, ready. Not from anxiety, but from a strange sense of preparedness. A younger soldier, Private Min Ki, caught Park's attention. He was cleaning a small medical device, his movements precise yet relaxed. When he looked up, there was no fear in his eyes, only a calm determination that seemed almost unsettling. "We've got reports of potential contamination in the last sector," Captain Wu explained. "Need a full medical scan and assessment." Dr. Park began his initial examinations. Each soldier submitted to the scans with an efficiency that surprised him. No complaints, no hesitation. They treated the medical process like another tactical operation. The first surprising discovery came during a routine blood analysis. Private Taehyun's cellular regeneration rates were extraordinary. Minor injuries that would debilitate other species seemed to heal within hours. His body processed environmental stress in ways that defied standard medical understanding. As Dr. Park continued his observations, he noticed something else. The team communicated without words. A slight gesture, a quick eye movement, a subtle shift in body posture. They understood each other at a level that transcended typical communication. Sergeant Kang Hyuk approached with a small wound on his arm. What looked like a minor plasma burn would have been fatal to most species. He treated it almost casually, applying a makeshift medical patch with practiced ease. "Interesting method," Dr. Park commented. Sergeant Hyuk simply nodded. "Works. Every time." The medical bay filled with a strange energy. These weren't just soldiers, they were something more. A collective organism that moved and breathed as one unit, yet maintained individual brilliance. Dr. Park's initial scans revealed physiological data that would challenge everything in medical databases. Their immune systems were adaptive. Their stress responses were controlled. Their pain thresholds seemed almost impossible. As hours passed, the humans continued their routine, checking equipment, running system diagnostics, maintaining their gear with a reverence that suggested these were more than just tools, they were lifelines. Captain Wu noticed Dr. Park's continuous observation. "Something interesting, Doctor?" Park hesitated. "Your team, they're unusual." A slight smile crossed the captain's face, not arrogance, not something deeper. Understanding. The medical transport drifted through space, carrying this unusual human unit. Dr. Park realized he was witnessing something more than a military team. He was observing a complex, living system of human capability that defied conventional understanding. Outside, stars continued their silent dance. Inside, the first chapter of an extraordinary medical observation was just beginning. The medical bay hummed with quiet intensity. Dr. Hyun Park watched as the human soldiers went about their daily routines, his sensors continuously collecting data. Each movement, each breath became a potential revelation. Corporal Jae Sung caught his attention first. A deep cut on his forearm that would have hospitalized most species was being treated with remarkable calm. The soldier cleaned the wound, applied a simple medical patch, and continued his equipment maintenance as if nothing had happened. Dr. Park zoomed in with his medical scanner. The cellular regeneration was unlike anything he had ever seen. Within hours, the wound was closing at an accelerated rate. Not just healing, but rebuilding with a precision that seemed almost impossible. Private Min Ki sat nearby, his breathing steady and controlled. During a routine stress test, his heart rate remained remarkably consistent. Where other species would show signs of anxiety or physical strain, this human demonstrated an extraordinary level of physiological control. A sudden alarm broke the calm. The ship's environmental systems detected a minor radiation leak in a distant compartment. Most medical teams would hesitate, calculate risks. Not these humans. Sergeant Dong Hai was the first to respond. Without waiting for instructions, he grabbed specialized protective gear. His movements were quick, calculated. No panic, no unnecessary drama. Just pure, efficient action. Dr. Park watched in fascination. The team moved like a single organism. When Tae-hyun discovered the leak's exact location, he communicated it through a series of subtle hand gestures. No words were needed. Each soldier understood their role instantly. Medic Su-yan began preparing emergency medical kits. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, selecting items with a speed that suggested years of muscle memory. Each movement was deliberate, each selection precise. The radiation exposure test revealed something extraordinary. Where most biological entities would show immediate cellular damage, these humans demonstrated remarkable resistance. Their bodies seemed to process and neutralize harmful radiation at a rate that defied current scientific understanding. Captain Jin Woo noticed Dr. Park's intense observation. "Something catching your eye, Doctor?" Park hesitated before responding. "Your team's biological responses are unusual." A knowing smile crossed the captain's face. Not pride, something deeper, an understanding of their collective capability. During a routine medical examination, Private Jae-hyun demonstrated another surprising characteristic. A small cut from equipment maintenance would have been a significant issue for most species. For him, it was barely a distraction. Dr. Park's medical database began to fill with unprecedented data. Their immune systems worked differently. Their cellular regeneration was accelerated. Their stress responses were controlled in a way that seemed almost superhuman. The ship's medical bay became a live laboratory. Each human soldier moved with a combination of individual brilliance and collective synchronization. They weren't just a team. They were a complex, adaptive system. Sergeant Kang Hyuk noticed Dr. Park's continuous scanning. "Collecting enough data, Doctor?" Park smiled. "More than enough. And yet I feel I've barely scratched the surface." A training simulation began. What would normally be a high-stress scenario became a demonstration of human adaptability. When equipment failed, they improvised. When communication channels were disrupted, they found alternative methods. The medical observations continued. Each hour revealed new layers of human capability. Their bodies weren't just surviving. They were thriving in conditions that would break most other species. As the ship drifted through the silent darkness of space, Dr. Park realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. These weren't just soldiers. They were a testament to human potential. A living, breathing example of adaptation, resilience, and collective strength. The medical sensors continued their silent dance, recording every moment, every breath, every subtle movement. And with each passing hour, the mystery of human capability grew deeper. Outside, stars continued their ancient journey. Inside, a new understanding of biological potential was slowly taking shape. The first wave of Krell invasion ships appeared like dark shadows against the distant starscape. Alarms screamed across the human military transport, cutting through the quiet of deep space. Captain Jin Woo's voice remained calm, almost unnaturally steady. Incoming attack. Battle stations. Dr. Hyun Park watched in stunned silence as the human unit transformed. Their previous relaxed postures became coiled energy. Each soldier moved with a precision that defied typical combat protocols. Private Tai Hyun was the first to react. His hands moved across weapon systems with lightning speed, calibrating defenses that seemed impossibly complex. Where most species would show fear, he displayed a cold, calculated readiness. The Krell. Ships approached. Massive technological monstrosities that had decimated countless civilizations. Their weapon systems were generations ahead of most known technology. Against such odds, most military units would surrender, not these humans. Sergeant Dong Hai began coordinating defensive strategies. His communication was minimal, just sharp, hand signals and quick eye movements. The entire unit understood without a single spoken word. They moved like a single breathing organism. Plasma bursts erupted around their ship. Each hit would have destroyed standard military vessels. But this human unit continued functioning. Medic Su Yan was already preparing emergency medical protocols, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. "Damage report," Captain Wu called. "Minor hull breach in Sector 3, Corporal Jae Sung responded. "Sealing in progress." The way they handled the attack was unlike anything Dr. Park had ever witnessed. Where other species would panic, these humans adapted. A weapon system failed. They improvised. Communication channels disrupted. They created alternative methods. Private Min Ki took an unexpected hit. A plasma burst that would have vaporized most biological entities merely knocked him back. Within seconds, he was up, continuing his combat responsibilities as if nothing had happened. The Krell ships pressed their attack. Their technological superiority was overwhelming. Energy weapons that could slice through planetary defenses targeted the human transport. Each hit should have been fatal, but the humans kept fighting. Sergeant Kang Hyuk discovered an unconventional weapon system. Using damaged communication arrays and emergency power circuits, he created a makeshift electromagnetic pulse. The improvisation was brilliant, unexpected. Their first counterattack came suddenly, not with advanced weapons but with pure strategic brilliance. They used the Krell ship's own technological complexity against them. Each movement was calculated, each decision precise. Dr. Park's medical sensors went crazy. The human soldiers' stress responses were unlike anything in galactic medical records. Their bodies produced chemical responses that enhanced performance instead of reducing functionality. Captain Wu's voice remained steady. "Prepare secondary defense protocol." The entire unit moved as one. No confusion, no panic, just pure, calculated action. One by one, Krell ships began to fall, not through superior technology but through human adaptability. They fought with a combination of strategy, improvisation, and an inexplicable determination that seemed to defy biological limitations. Hours of intense combat passed. Where most units would have been destroyed within minutes, this human squadron continued fighting. Their resilience was more than physical. It was a deeper, almost spiritual commitment to survival. As the last Krell ship disappeared into expanding debris, an unusual silence fell. Dr. Park realized he had been witnessing something extraordinary. These weren't just soldiers. They were a living testament to human potential. Captain Wu looked towards Dr. Park, a slight smile crossing his face. No words were needed. The medical observer understood what he had just witnessed was beyond traditional scientific understanding. The ship's damaged systems continued humming. External hull showed countless impact marks. But inside, the human unit remained functional. Calm. Ready. Outside, cooling plasma drifted like silent witnesses to an impossible victory. Dr. Hyun Park's hands trembled slightly as he reviewed the psychological data. The human unit wasn't just a military team. They were a complex psychological marvel that challenged everything he understood about collective behavior. Captain Jin Woo sat across the medical observation room. His eyes carried stories of countless battles, yet showed no signs of traditional combat stress. Most species would display clear psychological trauma after such intense engagements. These humans seemed different. Sergeant Kang Hyuk began cleaning his equipment. Each movement was deliberate, almost meditative. Where other species would show exhaustion, he demonstrated a calm that bordered on the extraordinary. Park noticed how the sergeant's hands moved with a rhythm that suggested complete mental control. The team's communication fascinated Dr. Park. They spoke minimally, yet understood each other completely. A slight gesture, a quick glance, a subtle body movement. Their psychological connection transcended verbal communication. Private Tai Hyun caught Park's attention. During a routine psychological evaluation, the soldier's brain patterns showed something unprecedented. Where most species would display heightened stress responses, Tai Hyun's neural activity remained remarkably stable. "How do you manage stress?" Park asked carefully. Tai Hyun's response was simple. "We don't manage stress, we work through it." The psychological data revealed layers of complexity. These humans possessed an ability to transform fear into strategic advantage. Their brains processed challenging situations not as threats, but as problems to be solved. Medic Su-Yan demonstrated another fascinating psychological trait. During a simulated high-stress scenario, her decision-making remained crystal clear. Most medical professionals would show signs of mental fatigue. She remained sharp, precise, almost unnaturally calm. Corporal Jae-sung shared an interesting perspective during a casual conversation. "Fear is a tool," he explained. "Not an obstacle. We use it, control it, make it work for us." Dr. Park's research began revealing extraordinary patterns. The human unit's psychological resilience wasn't about suppressing emotions. It was about understanding and channeling them effectively. Their collective psychological structure defied traditional understanding. Each soldier maintained individual brilliance while functioning as a perfect collective unit. They weren't just a team. They were a living, breathing psychological system. Captain Wu noticed Park's continuous observation. "Something interesting. Doctor?" Park hesitated. "Your team's psychological responses are unique." A knowing smile crossed the captain's face. Not pride, something deeper, an understanding of their collective mental capability. During a rest period, the soldiers demonstrated another surprising trait. Their relaxation methods were precise, calculated. Sergeant Dong Hai practiced breathing techniques that seemed to reset his entire mental state within minutes. The psychological database grew with unprecedented information. These humans processed trauma differently. Challenging situations didn't break them. They transformed those experiences into strength. Private Min Ki shared a crucial insight. "We train our minds like we train our bodies," he explained. "Constant adaptation, constant improvement." Dr. Park realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. Their psychological resilience wasn't just a military skill. It was a fundamental approach to existence, a way of understanding the world that went beyond traditional survival mechanisms. The medical observation room became a live psychological laboratory. Each interaction revealed new layers of human mental capability. They didn't just survive challenges, they evolved through them. As night cycles passed on the ship, Dr. Park continued his observations. The human unit slept in synchronized patterns. Even in rest, they maintained a collective awareness that seemed almost supernatural. Captain Wu approached during one late observation session. "We are more than individuals," he said quietly. "We are a system, adaptive, resilient." Dr. Park understood then that he was studying more than a military unit. He was witnessing a profound expression of human potential, a psychological marvel that challenged everything known about collective human capability. Outside, stars continued their silent journey. Inside, the human unit demonstrated a mental resilience that seemed to defy the very limits of biological understanding. The final report sat before Dr. Hyun Park, a testament to weeks of extraordinary observation. His hands moved carefully across the holographic interface, each word a careful documentation of something beyond scientific understanding. Captain. Jinwoo stood quietly in the observation room. He knew this report would change everything. The Galactic Medical Consortium would never view humans the same way again. Dr. Park's initial hypothesis had been simple: document a human military unit. What he discovered was something far more profound. These weren't just soldiers. They were a living example of evolutionary potential. The medical data told an impossible story: cellular regeneration that defied known biological limits, psychological resilience that transformed challenges into opportunities, a collective capability that seemed to transcend individual human potential. Private Tai Hyun's medical records alone would revolutionize medical understanding. His body's ability to process environmental stress, to heal, to adapt, it was nothing short of miraculous. Where most species would break, he transformed. Sergeant Kang Hyuk represented a psychological marvel. His ability to coordinate complex strategies under extreme stress challenged everything known about human limitations. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a living system of adaptive intelligence. The combat data from their recent engagement with the Krell invasion force told a story of impossible survival. Technological superiority meant nothing against human determination. They didn't just fight. They reimagined combat itself. Medic Su Yan's medical innovations would change galactic medical protocols. Her ability to treat injuries, to improvise medical solutions under extreme conditions, represented a breakthrough that would save countless lives across multiple species. Dr. Park's final paragraphs formed a conclusion that would shock the scientific community. Humans are not just a species. They are a force of evolutionary potential. Their ability to adapt, to transform challenges into opportunities, represents a biological and psychological capability that defies current scientific understanding. Captain Wu read the report, a slight smile crossing his face. He understood what Dr. Park had discovered. Humans were something more than a simple biological entity. The report detailed extraordinary capabilities: cellular regeneration beyond known limits, psychological resilience that transformed stress into strength, collective intelligence that functioned like a living organism, ability to improvise and adapt in ways that challenged technological superiority. Private Min Ki represented another fascinating study. His body's response to environmental challenges suggested humans were not just surviving, they were constantly evolving. Dr. Park's final recommendation was bold. Immediate comprehensive study of human physiological and psychological capabilities is required. What we have observed is not just a military unit. It is a potential blueprint for evolutionary adaptation. The observation room fell silent. Outside, stars continued their ancient dance. Inside, a document that would change galactic understanding was being completed. Captain Wu approached Dr. Park. "What do you think they'll say?" Park's response was simple. "The truth is always more complex than we expect." The report contained more than medical data. It was a testament to human potential, a document that suggested humans were not just another species in the vast galactic ecosystem. They were something extraordinary. Sergeant Dong Hai's psychological profiles showed a level of mental control that seemed almost impossible. His ability to maintain focus, to transform challenges into opportunities, represented a new understanding of human capability. Dr. Park's final paragraph captured the essence of his discovery. Humans are not defined by their limitations. They are defined by their ability to transcend them. The holographic interface flickered. The report was complete, a document that would challenge everything known about biological and psychological potential. Captain Wu placed his hand on Dr. Park's shoulder. No words were needed. They both understood the significance of what had been discovered. Outside, the universe continued its silent expansion. Inside, a report was being prepared that would change everything.